would you believe it that even as a committee, we were very shocked to find out that we do not know as a country how many of these power purchase agreements exist. Nobody tells us, even as Parliament, how many of these power purchase agreements exist. There are people sitting on power purchase agreements just quietly. And Honorable Speaker, we are paying for capacity charge for things that we are not even aware of, where they exist and where they're generating from. So, Honorable Speaker, the committee felt it important that we have a register of all the power purchase agreements that it has entered into, and Honorable Speaker, this must be published on its website and in the annual audit reports of the purchasing entity. The register in that subsection, Honorable Speaker, we require it to be prepared within 90 days from the date of operation of this section and be open to inspection by members of the public in accordance with Section 5 of the Access to Information Act. Honorable Speaker, lastly, we have provided that the authority shall not approve an energy purchase agreement which fails to comply with all these provisions that we are introducing. Mr. Speaker, with those many remarks, I beg to move. And I want to request the Honorable Stuart Mazayo to second.
Mr. Speaker, I second.
Honorable Senators, I now propose the question that the Energy Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 42 of 2023, be now read a second time. I will invite members to contribute to this bill, and from my dashboard, Senator Gloria Magoma Orwoba.
Chair, thank you for that. Before I add my voice on this, Chair, it's very hot in chambers. I think you have seen Senator Sifuna sweating. I don't know whether the AC is not working. And Chair, we have seen a lot of renovations happening. And this is why, you know, the question is who is approving these renovations? They should ask us. We'll tell them we want the AC, we want this. But Chair, there's a lot of funny things happening out here. We have a new red carpet, I don't know, new lights, new what. Chair, it is imperative that as a house of oversight, we also learn to oversight ourselves. This budget that is being spent on the funny things that are happening in this building, Chair, we need to know, because you know, I'm sure you sit in the liaison committee. We are opening the financial year with pending bills, which none of our chairs of committees are able to address. So when we sit here and we are sweating, and yet they have replaced the red carpet, which nobody asked for, Chair. Nobody asked for a new red carpet, but they have replaced it. We need to understand that oversight should begin in this house, Chair. So if they can put the AC on, we would really appreciate.
Clerk, could you make arrangements such in the terms
kindly, because of all the things that we didn't need,
Senator
the one
Gloria,
thing we needed was the AC.
Your comments noted, and I should have expected you to appreciate the fact that there is a refurbished chamber for you to utilize in the session. But
Chair, austerity measures, Chair. Austerity measures. You know, when we see a new red carpet, we wonder really who's doing these things. You know, is it necessary? Who are the entrepreneurs? Chair, I would like to add my voice, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to add my voice on this bill that is being fronted by our senators from the broad-based government. Mr. Speaker, we have to start appreciating that this is the kind of robust engagements that we have to have in this house, Mr. Speaker. And for the first time in the history probably of the debate of this house, you can see that myself and Senator Sifuna and Senator Eddy and Mazayo, we are speaking the same language. Mr. Speaker, on the issue of independent purchase producers, electrical energy producers, Mr. Speaker. I think we have had a conversation of, first of all, the fact that it is not transparent. We do not know who these entities are. We do not know what they are producing, where they are actually supplying, Mr. Speaker. And it is time that we actually unveil that that we actually make sure that Kenyans understand what is happening, Mr. Speaker. As you can see in the proposed amendment where they're saying that a generating entity may enter into an energy purchase agreement to sell electrical energy to a licensed entity specified in the third schedule. Mr. Speaker, what we are trying to address is that we finally are able to get value for our money, Mr. Speaker. We finally are able to understand why there are numerous blackouts, and we can hold people accountable, Mr. Speaker. So I want to first of all congratulate the mover of this bill, Mr. Speaker, because it is a timely bill, particularly because this is the time when we need to make the very unpopular decisions of kicking out the cartels. Mr. Speaker, the understanding of what we do in Senate, many people don't really get it. It's not just about bills and oversight, Mr. Speaker, but it is ensuring that we hold people accountable to the last, down to the grassroots, Mr. Speaker. So even the bills we bring here, it's not that we like debating, but it is to address the issues of the lack of transparency in government services, the lack of transparency in some of the procurements that we are having, particularly with these IPPs, Mr. Speaker. And so that is the reason why I am supporting this bill by Senator Sifuna. And I do hope that we have other engagements and other robust discussions, Mr. Speaker, due to this, what we call the broad-based government. I support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Roba. Senator Godfrey Osotsi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity to also contribute to this very important bill, the Energy Amendment Bill 2023 by Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna. Mr. Speaker, I think this bill is long overdue. I have worked in the energy sector previously, before I joined politics. I used to work for the then Electricity Regulatory Board, which now transformed to the Energy Regulatory Commission, and now which is called IPRA. And this problem has been there. The issue of cost of power in this country. The cost of power, one of the factors that contribute to high cost of power in this country is this very expensive, secretive, and satanic energy purchase agreement between the Kenya government and some independent power producers. This bill, Mr. Speaker, will help us unlock the problem that has existed in this country for many years. For many years. So this bill will ensure that the so-called independent power producers who engage in this purchase agreement are known. So Senator Sifuna is seeking to resolve the problem of disclosure. We must know who these companies are, what are the faces behind these companies, what are the interests, what are the agreements say. It is not right that a government institution, Mr. Speaker, can enter into agreements with the individuals or private institutions without the knowledge of the people of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, maybe this problem really highlights the main problem we have in this country. The main problem of disclosure of material facts in agreements of this nature. And I want to say that maybe we need to amend this to ensure that all these agreements are subjected to parliamentary approval. So, I want to encourage Senator Sifuna to maybe look at the amendments and improve them further, to require that these agreements, because they affect our economy in a large way, must be looked at by Parliament so that the public interest is protected. Mr. Speaker, as I said, the amendment is going to give us disclosure of ownership information. Who are the owners of these entities, and how much are they drawing from the people of Kenya for their personal interest, and what is the cost at which they are selling electricity to our public institution, particularly KenGen. So I think it is very timely, and I want to encourage members, particularly on the aspect of disclosure, to support this bill. Mr. Speaker, without disclosure, then, as it has been stated in the memorandum of the bill, then we are not sure what this money is doing. Whether this money is being used for money laundering, whether this money is part of tax evasion schemes or corruption. So disclosure will help us deal with all the social issues around the non-disclosure of these agreements. Mr. Speaker, I don't know why it is so difficult for the government to provide information on some of these things. We struggled with SGR. Up to now, we do not have clear information on some of the contracts of SGR. Mr. Speaker, we are now struggling with we have struggled with these independent power producers, and even now, the biggest debate in this country is about Adani matter, which I can see the chairman of Roads and Transport is smiling. He has done a good job, and he's also my member of CPIC, to try and deal with the problem. Mr. Speaker, I think it's high time that we demand that all such major agreements, particularly between government and private investors or individuals, must be disclosed to Parliament and must be processed in this House, Mr. Speaker, because they affect our people, and we exist in this Parliament because we represent the people under Article 1 of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the other important issue which I want to agree with the mover of this bill is the matter of ensuring that these agreements are aligned or comply to the principles of public finance management.